All right, welcome back to another edition of Checkers, Wreckers, and What the Heckers. My name is Chad Beard, and I'm a country music artist, content creator, and NASCAR super fan. Joined as always by my incredible co host. Please allow me to introduce them to you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the only man who looks like he lost a bar fight with a weed whacker and won. The mullet is aerodynamic. The takes are unfiltered. And the Ohio is strong with this one. He's a VIP access with a Haas factory team, but still carries himself like he just crawled out of a speedway parking lot at 2 a.m. A blue collar Buckeye with champagne problems and blue moon solutions. The follicle phenom, Rick Cogan.
I like that. Blue Moon Solutions. That's another
And
one
I
to
love
jot
that
down.
too. Thank you, Chad. And you're right. The Ohio thing, I'm sorry I'm late. Cavaliers beat the Hornets. Not the prettiest game, but look, we'll take it. So,
All right, priorities. Oh, he's the IT guy for Hendrick Motorsports, which means if Wi-Fi dies, the simulator crashes, or a laptop goes missing, this man is getting subpoenaed. By day, he fixes servers. By night, he's allegedly the fastest man in North Carolina. Basically, if it runs on power or ego, he's already tuned it. A name that sounds like a lawsuit and a verdict all in one. Put it together for Chris, the Supreme Court Justice.
Well,
hell
welcome back.
yeah.
Hey, thank you. I like that one. I like that one. A little ego in there. You got to have a little chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. Well, fellas, we are back for another one. This one is going to be exciting. I'm excited about this. I'm excited to dive in with our guest tonight. We get to go into a different world that we don't get to go into a lot, and that excites me. And I hope it excites our viewers and our listeners. And what do you say we hop into it?
Let's get it.
Come
All
on.
right. He's worked on major productions, wrangled real celebrities, and somehow still chooses to hang out with us, which tells you everything you need to know about his judgment. Part visionary filmmaker, part professional chaos coordinator. If it's on screen and looks expensive, emotional, or slightly illegal, he probably directed it. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the man who yelled cut at people who actually matter. Director, storyteller, and certified Hollywood menace. Mark Cogan is here.
Oh, welcome, Mark.
Nice.
Wow. I don't know who you're talking about, but thank you.
Whatever,
Oh
whatever.
my God.
So I'm excited about this because Mark and I have known each other for a while. We met through my country music career. I think Mark was one of like 4.5 people who bought my album, pre-ordered it, got the special limited edition, like one of 5 t-shirts back in the day. But and I'm a big fan of this guy, what he does, and who he is as a person. And he is always fun to talk to. All right, Mark. So you are originally born in Ireland, right?
Yes,
And
correct.
and I never say it right. I always say Cork, which is like the American pronunciation. But what's the proper pronunciation?
Well, that's how you say it. That's the anglicized version is Cork. Yeah,
Okay.
Cork.
What is the non-anglicized
What's the
version?
cool way to say it?
Well, no, the Gaelic word for the Irish word for it is Corkig, which means a marshy place because Cork is built on a bog, basically, which is why it floods so frequently. It still gets very wet.
Which, if you ever get to go there, is an absolutely gorgeous place. First of all, the entire country of Ireland, both the countries of Ireland, which Mark broke down for us earlier, Ricky, but you missed. The British side, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland, right?
Correct.
So I visited both while I was there. Didn't know exactly what I was doing, besides blowing up Mark's phone the entire time, saying, I don't know what I'm doing. Where should I go? What should I do? But anyways, all right, let's get back to you. So Mark, tell us how you grew up and decided that you wanted to get into the film industry.
Well, as a kid, I wasn't much of a, I wasn't a sports kid. My brother was, and all his friends and so on. I was like TV, movies, and reading were my life basically from as early as I can remember. So initially, I think I wanted to be an actor because when you only see what's on the screen, you think that's all there is. And I thought that's what I wanted to be. And then the more you learn about what goes on to make that, that interested me far more. And then when I was 14, I got my first video camera and started making my own movies with my friends, or my brother and sister were the stars, stuff like that. I made a bunch of those. Went to when I finished high school. I won't call it film school. It was basically a video production course. It was more of a technical thing, which was very, very useful. But after that, I worked like regular meat and potatoes day jobs, but I was always either writing or making short films of my own on the side until somewhere around 2008, 2009. My work actually got to be a little more professional and like kind of recognized. And I made a trilogy of short films that had the same characters at the center of them. One of each short film centered on one of them as the central character. And this trilogy it was broadcast on TV. It went to a bunch of festivals around the world, and it ended up winning some awards, which was pretty cool.
And what was the name of that?
So the trilogy, one of them is called Heart, the second one is called Partly Cloudy, and the third one is called The Handsome Shadows.
And what's the kind of gist of the trilogy, like the storylines,
It's sort
without
of
spoilers?
with us. So, God, how would I describe them? They're just everyday. It's kind of a friendship of three people, all of whom are very different, and each one of these shorts is a day in their lives that's particularly challenging for them, and how the support of their friends gets them through it. They've kind of formed their own little family unit, these three friends, but like always there for each other. But the three stories are very, very distinct, I would say. One of them is a comedy, one of them is a drama, quite a heavy drama, and the other one is somewhere in between, I would say. Um, and then so what should have happened after that, I suppose, is I should have stayed where I was and tried much harder to be a writer director. But I felt like I'd done as much as I could, and I was well. Now what? Because I'm actually not too fond of the short film format. I wrote a feature. Nothing really seemed to happen with that. In the interim, from about the year 2000 onward, because I love movies and TV so much, and because America and Canada, to a large part, is where all that comes from. All I ever wanted to do was I wanted to go to where movies were, basically, because America to me has always just been a giant movie set. In my head, that's what it is. So I would visit maybe once a year. I would take a trip, 2-week trip, do as much as I could, go home, and just save up until I could come back again. I did that for over 20 years. I would take a US trip and a Canadian trip almost
Oh,
every
wow.
year. And then it got to the point where I was like, I think I want to stay there. Because going back to Ireland, and I had a really grim day job, like one of those ones where you're checking your watch every 3 months. It was so miserable. I thought, I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to make a big change. And at the time, it was to get a work permit, a 2-year work permit to come to Canada was not very difficult at that time, economy wise. So I just applied for it. They were mainly they needed tradespeople, plumbers and construction type guys, but it was open to everyone. So I did that. I was accepted. I came here. I'd always loved this part of Canada. I love the Rockies. I just love the West, really. So,
Yeah.
I got
So,
here. And
before we jump, sorry to
yes,
cut you off. I want to know kind of about how is the filmmaking industry, and how is the film industry in Ireland and these places, like is it the same, like do you have like Ireland's version of Hollywood or something like that? Is it the same type of industry there, or how would you compare it?
Yes, it's actually, I mean, the last couple of decades, it's huge. Ireland is a very big location for movies. They shoot a
Right.
lot. I mean, Game of Thrones was shot, a lot of a lot of huge productions choose to base out of there. And it's not quite the same in scale. There's certainly not the same volume that there is. But depending on what it is you want to shoot, then it is a very popular place to make movies and has a quite sizable industry for the size of the country. Yes, it does.
So like distribution, things like that. How does that work similar there as it does here? Like if you when you make these short films, these three short films, like what's your process? Are you pitching those to a studio there, or
Oh,
how
no,
is
no.
that?
So for a short, something like that is usually there is an option. There are grants from the Irish Film Board. They accept, some each year. You submit and they I don't remember what the budgets were, but the higher end ones would be 80 to 100,000, which is a lot for a short film. So, um, and I had gone down that route. I'd never had any success that way. The short films that I made, I paid for entirely myself. And that's another reason I kind of had to stop because I would have been bankrupt if I kept doing that. So I certainly wasn't spending that much money on them. But, you call in favors and you have friends who are actors who will come in and, sometimes do it for free and so on. So, but I never had any success through that official route. It was all self-done.
So, I'm trying to form the question and figure out exactly how I want to ask it. Like, so what's the, if you were, you said you probably should have stayed and kept doing that. Like, what is the growth there had you stayed in Ireland versus making the jump? I understand you, like, we'll get there. You kind of changed jobs a little bit when you came,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
had you stayed there and kept directing and writing, like, what's the growth like there versus like if you're doing the same thing in LA?
I mean, it's a unique experience for everyone. I said, if I had stayed there, I really don't think I would have, say, become like a commercial director. It's just there's too much competition. There's a certain amount of nepotism I think involved as well. There's a lot of like who you know and stuff, and um, just from my perspective, I that's why I really felt I had no other option. I don't think there was a lot of room for me to grow there. I don't know among my peers that I knew. I know one guy who ended up making a feature film for a studio. Out of probably 40 people I knew, he's the only one that actually got to that level. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
So so you decide, just to catch back up where we were, you decide to make this move to Canada.
Yes.
And what do you do when you get to Canada?
So I get here to Calgary, and I was lucky that at the time I arrived, there was a lot of production here, and I went to the because you have to be in either a union or a guild to work on set. So I went to the local chapter and applied to, you have to go through a permit process and be approved and all that. But it was so busy, I got in right away, and I was working within 2 weeks, which is kind of, and it certainly would not happen now, but ended up working in the production office of a television series, which is basically the hub of a production. That's where, you're dealing with flying the cast in and, ordering. It's really is like the central hub for everything that goes on in the production. And it's a great place to learn. And you learn from all of the department heads, be they props, locations, set tech, costume, whoever, they're all based there. So, you have an opportunity to learn what they do and what goes on really. So I did that for 7 years across a bunch of different shows, is what I did. And as valuable as that experience was, I also knew that wasn't really what I wanted to do.
So
Uh,
what were your tasks when you were a part of the production facility there?
so in the production office, it's a lot of kind of it's office work basically. There's filing, there is administration is the main thing of what you're doing because these productions are because you're answering to a studio or some a higher power. Everything has to be traceable. Everything has to be done to a certain standard. Whereby 5 years from now, if someone tries to sue you, you have to come back and have this paperwork to say, no, we did do that day, and we did have this box checked and all that. It's quite strict actually at that level. So, but that in the production office, it could be anything from you could be ordering lunch for the 55 people who work in that office. You could be sent to the actor's apartment because they don't like their drapes, or it's a mishmash. It could be absolutely anything, which I did have to do once, by the way.
Oh, who is this actor? I
I,
need to
Check
know
the
this.
drapes.
See, you also sign an NDA on these things.
That's
Like,
fair. That's
I
fair.
give it a dirt, but yeah, there are there are a lot of divas that you have to deal with as well in that job, which I no longer have to do, which is great. So,
Right. So what were some of the shows that you were working on through those various times in the production?
so the production office shows I worked on, I worked at Heartland. I worked on a show called Young Drunk Punk. I did Hell on Wheels, which was one of my favorite
Oh
ones.
my gosh, that is still one of my like top 10
Such a great
shows.
show. And
Such a
it was great to be a part of that, but to be in the office was a little frustrating. It was like I want to be out there with all the horses and the
Yeah, that was a Western series, right? The Hell
yes,
on Wheels.
correct,
and
yes,
Anson Mount was
yeah.
the lead on that. Such a great I've watched that series multiple times.
So I was on that show for a year, and one day I got to go to set on that show, and
Wow.
So you were stuck in the office setting.
I was in the office the entire time. Yeah, and it was even at that it's a very interesting show. It was always exciting to work on, but um, just that taste of one day on set, I was like, I would rather be here, I think. So, because it's definitely the more exciting part of it, even though it can be a little more stressful. And then after Hell on Wheels, I did a show called Tin Star with Tim Roth. Um, then I did, you see, I did a pilot for a pilot called Dark Cargo, which didn't actually get picked up. It was for YouTube was going to start producing original content. It was a YouTube
Oh wow.
original, but that didn't go anywhere. And then I did a show called Fortunate Son. A lot of these are Canadian shows which really only air here. You may not have heard of them. So, um, but Hell on Wheels up to that point was probably the biggest one I had worked on before I moved to doing locations.
So it when you're working in the production office, what is the path like what are the different paths you can take from there?
Well, the office is broken down into so the head of the production office is the production coordinator, and then there'll be assistant production coordinator who may be dealing with the travel of the cast. If it's a show, a lot of U.S. shows shoot here, so you're flying the cast in and out all the time. That's quite cast travel can be a big thing. And then you're responsible for accommodation for them as well. It's and then your path basically would be you start as a training production coordinator. After a couple of years, you may get up to that assistant level. And then to be a production coordinator takes quite a few years of that because it's a huge amount of responsibility for all of the production administration that you have to know inside and out to get to that position.
Yeah, I think it's cool how I mean, like you said, as a kid, you see the actors on TV and it's really easy to think like this is it.
Right.
And it's kind of the same way in our sport in NASCAR. You see the drivers, sometimes you see the pit crew, but there's this whole entire ecosystem and
Cool word.
jobs from, I tell people all the time, it was the same way in the music industry, right? People are like, I would love to live in Nashville. I would love to do this every day, but I can't sing or I can't play an
Right.
instrument. I'm like, you realize there are a million jobs, like everything from like tour buses have to be cleaned to, there's got to be somebody who does the paperwork. There's got like whatever your talents are inside these different industries are a million jobs that you can be a part of if you just want to be a part of it in some form. So I
Yeah.
think it's really cool to hear about the ecosystem inside.
It's just so many moving parts. And like I did that for 7 years, and you asked me what to do in the production office. And even though I'm drawing a blank, I was very busy all the time. Like I'm trying to think, but I
No,
was. It's so many little things. It's all about keeping the whole office running.
right.
But it can be extremely high stress as well. And 14 hours a day, you generally is how long you're in there. So
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a
that's a
lot of
long day.
hours.
14. Yeah.
Yep.
So, so you did that for 7 years. How did the opportunity to come up for you to do the job that you're doing now?
So on a bunch of those shows, I had worked with the location manager, and I'd always had an interest in locations because of my photography. And I said to him, if you ever had the opportunity for me to be in your department, either as a scout or as a location coordinator, which is the job I do about half of the time now, um, I said I would be very interested in that job. And he said, I would hire you in a second. The first time they let me have someone in your position, I'll hire you. And he did. And that was season 1 of Billy the Kid. He called me and
Mm.
he said, "Do you still want to work for me?" I said, "Absolutely, yes," because I was on The Last of Us at the time, and I was quite happy to get off that one. So I said, "Yeah, if you want to start on this day, come on in." And I've been doing either location scout or location coordinator ever since.
So explain what that is for people who might not understand.
So location scouting is a basically a breakdown of the script, seeing what locations are required, and then going to find options for that and presenting as many options as you can either to the location manager, the director, the producer. Then they usually will go back and revisit their favorite ones. And if something is then selected uh, to be a filming location, then it gets a little more bureaucratic after that. It's contracts and so on. But the travel and the options of location scouting is the most interesting part.
So when people are watching Billy the Kid or The Last of Us or whatever, like you're going out and you're getting these scripts in advance and you see we've got to have a farmhouse that fits this description. And essentially your job is to go out and find something that matches as closely to that.
Pretty much, yes. So for if it's a period show, especially for a Western, if you're filming at a Western backlot where you have an existing, and we have a couple of those here, which is why they come here in the first place. So that will cover, usually that'll cover like 80% of your script because there are farmhouse buildings, there's a courthouse, there'll be like a Chinese laundry, all that stuff that's already there. They may adapt it a little bit for the aesthetics of the show, but if you have a Western backlot, that stuff's all there. It's when there may be set pieces written into a certain script, like a gunfight in a canyon, where we're like, okay, we have no idea where this is going to be. Go and find us options for this. And canyon is very specific. I bring that up because season 2, Billy the Kid, we had a shootout in a canyon that I was tasked, go find us this canyon. And I was like, well, I didn't find a canyon as such, but how about this? And it was this really epic cliff face that like went up in different levels that they ended up using for it. So
Mm.
it's you have to think outside the box a lot as well, because what's exactly in the script may not be available within a realistic distance. So you have to kind of see it. You have to see the scene yourself and then try to sell that to someone, basically. The new
So I would take the fact that you being the writer and having the short film concepts early really, really helped you in seeing that vision from the script to the screen when you had to be on these locations, right?
uh,
Find these locations.
Absolutely, yes, yeah, yeah. It helps you if you do have a strong vision or a way of seeing it. It definitely does help you to kind of open up the scope a little bit and find something different. Sometimes if it's very very specific in the script, then you can bring back options and they're like, nope, this won't work, and send you back out again. Um, or sometimes they'll have to compromise and change, but it all comes down to how much the writer or director is willing to compromise or how much they want a certain thing that they'll send you to get. It's all very, very subjective.
So how far in advance are you scouting these locations? So if they say, "Hey Mark, we are going to shoot a new series called Wreckers Podcast and you got to go find out all these locations." How far in advance do you get that script? How far ahead do you start looking for locations?
Um, like if sometimes if they know that this show is going to happen, whatever this show is, and they may not even have a script yet, but we know that there's going to be a bunch of stuff happen in a courthouse. We know there's going to be a bunch of stuff happen near a waterfall because these are two main locations. Then they may send you to find what's available. And then once you know what they have, sometimes they don't start writing until after that. I've been on shows where we start shooting on Monday and we don't have a script. And you're like, okay, well, I won't say which, there's a particular show that happened all the time on. And then there is, then sometimes I've been on shows where, let's say we're doing 8 episodes, and on your first day, you have the first 6 scripts. And that's fantastic. That's such a great help. But it's also possible that, then you get script revisions. They could change one of those scripts. Anything can happen. And suddenly it's like, oh, by the way, we need a farmhouse for next Tuesday. That's happened as well. And then you're scrambling. In that case, they'll usually send out multiple scouts to cover as much ground as possible if you need something that quickly.
One of the coolest things, and I've told you this before, if you guys get a chance to check out Mark's Instagram page, he does this awesome thing where he goes to these different locations with actual printed out photos from film or TV that has already happened, and like shows that scene in live present day and contrast it with how it looked in the film to that specific GPS location. Like he frames it up and it's so cool. I've messaged him and be like, hey, I need can you give me GPS locations for this? He's done that.
I call that forensic location scouting. That's fun to do sometimes because those can be really hard to find. Sometimes they're very easy or they've been used multiple times. But yeah, that's kind of probably my biggest hobby, I would say, is doing that.
Yeah.
Are there any go-to locations for certain things? Like you say, you need X, Y, and Z. Like, yep, we got the spot right here. It works well, sets well. Like it's just good for all the boxes.
Yeah, there's and that's one of the reasons one of the reasons we even have an industry here is that people will see things like Legends of the Fall or Unforgiven or something. They'll say, "Oh, where is that?" And then another movie will come here for that very reason.
Gotcha.
You'll see them. Multiple movies have used like literally the same spot with the same backdrop, like the same spot in the mountains. It happens quite a bit. So the amount of the Revenant, which was shot here 2015, a bunch of movies came after that because they were like, we wanted to look like the Revenant. So then you come here if you want to do that.
So when you're scouting this and you go out to take this back to your writer or director or whatever, are you shooting video? Are you taking still shots? Like how are you capturing that image? Because for me, I think it's like I see something a lot of times and I'm like, this is beautiful. And I want to, I want to share this with somebody. And it's a lot of times it's hard to capture it, especially if you're not shooting, professionally, that kind of thing. So how do you take that back? How do you present it?
If I just use stills. If I'm trying to do a huge I may take like a left to right video to show the real scope of things. Some people use drones. I'm not a big fan of drones myself. I don't use them, but for me, it's just because my instinct with photography has always been for landscapes. I think I know how to capture it in a way that it makes sense to me, and that seems to work for the most part. So I really don't want to get a drone. I don't like them. So, yeah.
So on these films that you worked on, shows, films, things, do you get to be more involved? Say you've done all your scouting. How much do you get to be involved with actual shooting and things that are going on?
Not a whole lot generally because I do end up getting to set more than I did when I was in the production office. But generally, if it's a show that requires a lot of scouting, like I was full time on Joe Pickett for like 3 months. I'm working ahead of the production generally, so while they're shooting, I'm trying to find where they're going to be 2 weeks from now. So I'm generally not there a whole. I may have to go to meet my boss, who will be the location manager. If I have to go have a lunch meeting with him, that may be on set or something. But for the most part, whether I'm scouting or doing the location coordinator job, uh, generally not in the action a whole lot.
Um, so when you watch these shows back or these films back, do you view it differently because you like you essentially set the canvas for this, right? You said you found these locations, you saw it bare, and then see all these things built into that backdrop that you found. Does that make you view it differently?
Yeah, definitely. It like it takes years to separate to watch something impartially. And sometimes you'll be like the scene will come on, it'll go by in 8 seconds, and you're like, oh, that was 3 stressful months. I'm glad they got 8 seconds out. Like that was kind of typical of The Last of Us when you're like, really? But yeah, I do still find myself thinking, oh, that was the day this happened, or I remember when they said that wouldn't work and they tried this instead or something. Yeah, yes, I do watch things differently.
Yeah, I could say, like, I feel like I view concerts differently. Like I take them in as a different way than most people do. So I can understand how you're looking at it through a different lens.
Even if it's something I didn't work on, I find myself going, "Oh, that must have been really hard. Like, how many businesses do they have to pay off to close this street, and how do they clear all those? That's I think logistically about how to make shows now when I watch them, even when I'm not on them.
Wow. Ricky, what questions you got?
Well, two of them. I mean, you mentioned having the scenes for like the something that stands out. You mentioned The Remnant. I remember that movie and other movies using it. But what would you say is the percentage of people that could even pick up like on something like that versus you who watches it critically and says, "Oh, I know that scene. I know that scene." Because I don't think I'd ever know.
That's a very good point. So, I suppose something like The Revenant was quite distinctive in its locations, I think, and how they photographed them. If there were enough wow moments in a movie, like enough wide shots that make you think, "Oh my, where the hell is that? Like that's so beautiful."
Yeah.
It has to be at that level for you to actually say, I wonder where that if you're a director or a producer or someone who's thinking about shooting a movie somewhere, you're watching it completely differently. But as a casual viewer, you're right. I think most people kind of think, what is he even talking about? You're
So
probably right.
Chad, I liken that to like music, and I've been around you with other music, and I would just say, wouldn't critique it, but you listen differently than I do. You pick up things differently. You hear the music differently, what's good, what's bad. So I thought that was similar. My second question, totally off the rails. You're so involved in this, and it's been such a part of your life. What if I just fired a question at you and said, what's your top three movies? And it has nothing to do with you or location scouting. Just what's your top three movies?
I can do that.
Go.
So my favorite movie, I've had the same favorite movie since 1990. That's Dances with Wolves. That's my
Classic.
favorite movie. Um,
Interesting.
my I could pull two from Back to the Future is a movie I could
Love
watch
Back to
like
the
The first
Future.
every
one?
day. Yes, I love all three. I really do, but that first one is so special. It really is.
Okay. Okay. Dance.
Never
Okay.
get tired of it. And then uh, I have to the other one. The next one I would say is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Because I love horror movies, and that
Very
one.
diverse. You
Yeah, I
love
was gonna
horror
say.
movies.
I love westerns. I love horror movies. I love everything really, but um, if for me, I have such a personal connection. It's if I saw it at a certain age, even if it's not a great movie, if I can look at it now and say it's not a very good movie, but if it had a powerful effect on me at a young age, those are the ones that I really care about.
That's cool. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah. Talk about some of the because I find this interesting because I think we're similar in this in kind of different ways. I love to listen to music on tape, on vinyl on CDs still. Like I love like
God, you're
it,
so
literally.
old.
I know literally in my like I have a giant collection of cassette tapes and I love I don't do it all the time. I don't do it as much now as I did before, but I love to put my Walkman on when I go running and listen to cassettes because it makes me listen to the music in a different way. Like there is no skipping. There's you listen to all the B-side cuts and it's cool. But the I mean there's a million things that I love about Mark, but you have a very um interesting collection of different forms of media that I love to watch you post about. And
I'm
I've never
smirking here that
experienced some of those, and I want to. So speak to that.
Like what? Laser disc, Chad?
I'm smirking here because I'm surrounded by. Let me get this. Here's a movie I watched on Laserdisc just last
Oh
night.
my God, come
Oh my
on.
God.
This
Laser
is one
disc.
of 300 Laserdiscs I own. Here is the
300 laser disc.
soundtrack to Buster, along here with 500 other cassettes. Here's a VHS tape of the Amityville Horror that I happen to have just on here. Here's an 8-track. Like
I have a whole 8-track system here as well. I
this is the room I keep all my stuff in, so you asked me the
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Wow.
I would say, I mean, I love if a movie I love comes out on the 4K format. Yes, I want to have it. What I miss about so, yes, there's so many streaming services. There's lots of great stuff on there, but they may not be on there forever. And I really, really miss having like I love having this where you have the artwork, you have pictures.
Tangibly, you own it. Yep.
Yes,
Yes, it's
exactly.
yours.
And something about either whether if I watch movies on VHS or Laserdisc, the quality, there's almost something comforting about how plain it is. It's I'm not a snob about viewing quality. Yes, I love the 4K stuff, but I watch a Laserdisc pretty much every night.
That's
Really?
So
All
I,
right, come on, Chad. Let me jump
I
in.
okay, come on, Rick.
Mark, how many laser discs? 300?
300, he says.
I would
Plus.
estimate somewhere around there.
Fantastic. And we're not going to come up and count them. We trust you. What laser disc player do you play them back on?
I have a Pioneer that I got on eBay for about $120 5 or 6 years ago. And touch wood, it's perfect. It plays great. It's really good. Yeah, I'm very happy with it.
So
You were hoping he
Sony
was going to
sold
say
one
Sony.
called an MDP 333. If you find it, eBay or whatever, MDP 333. Thank you.
Okay.
Rick retired from Sony last year.
Oh, really?
And Rick was around. Let's just get it out before Chad does. Rick was around when Laserdisc was around. So let's just quit it right
What
now.
was I? Jeez.
No, you look a lot younger than me, brother. That's okay.
I'm a big I've never watched Laserdisc. I've never physically touched one. Um, but I'm a huge VHS fan. I have a giant VHS collection at my farm in Alabama, and I make my kids. I do it less often now, but I make my kids watch old movies on the VHS because I feel like it just hits differently. There's just something about it.
You're such a vinyl guy. You're analog. You're an old soul.
A
Big
hundred,
time analog.
a
Right?
hundred.
Isn't he?
Yeah, big
Come on,
time.
Supreme Court.
Big
Chad.
time.
Chad.
Yes.
The only guy with a
Regular-
Tesla and 8 tracks that I know, for real.
I love that, right? Chad.
Yes, Rick.
Regular VHS
Yes.
or super VHS?
Super
And
VHS.
do you know the difference between the two?
I just have regular VHS.
Okay.
I no, I don't know the difference. I'm sorry.
240 lines of resolution on VHS versus 480 on
Super.
SVHS. Come on.
Yeah, see, I just need the basic.
And I was around for VHS as well. So now we're just, I just keep
well,
abusing.
I was VHS and I grew up very poor, so there was not. But
with 138 acres, but you were very poor.
Listen, but
that's his version of poor.
Yeah,
listen,
He wasn't exactly on the bad side of the tracks. He was a land baron, but he was very poor.
Very poor.
You just don't understand.
I don't.
Anyways,
I don't.
I don't.
but also for me, like I remember like movies being such a big deal with my family. Like there was no cable. Cable literally did not run to our farm. Like they would not run it there. I remember my grandparents had when I was a kid. Uh, I remember when they got a satellite dish, and I'm talking like the
Yeah, the big
giant.
C band.
Yeah,
That was C band.
that my grandfather later turned it into a roof of a gazebo.
Yeah, you had to bury those in the ground with a concrete base.
Yeah, but I remember as you know, we didn't have money, but I remember
You just had
vividly.
land.
I remember vividly when my dad would get paid on Friday or whatever, like our treat was we would drive the 35 minutes to the Walmart, to the regular Walmart at that point because there wasn't Super Walmart, but we would buy a DVD once we had a DVD player. But we would either buy VHS when it's VHS or a DVD, and that was our new entertainment for till the next time my dad got paid, and we would wear those things out. And so it became such a huge part of my life to go do that. When I got older, you know, when I was in college, things like that. Like it was CDs were that way for me. Like when I got paid, I would go to the Walmart and buy a CD and I would wear that album out, whatever it was. I don't know how we got off on all that. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be.
We got off
collection.
on all that because
Yes.
Mark has 300 laser discs.
The format. So, but one of the reasons laser discs are kind of extra special to me. So I grew up with VHS as well. I don't know that laser discs were ever sold in Ireland. I had heard of them, but they were like fancy.
Good point.
So I never even saw one. And the
Good
fact
point.
that now I can go, but there's a store here that has like a bargain basket Laserdisc section for $5, and every time I go, they have new stuff, and I still get like a little thrill out of this big shiny disc. I don't know.
Absolutely. Mark, do you remember how much they were at retail?
I don't, but I know they were very expensive, I'm told.
Yeah, 30 to 40 bucks a disc, and people were out of their minds back then that the medium, you know, that cost so much. So you had to buy the Laserdisc player. Right. And then you had to pay so much money for those while VHS was out at the same time and so much more affordable.
Right. And they wanted to know, but the resolution on this is also 480. So it's.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. And the sound quality is better, too.
Much. Yeah. And they actually had surround on these.
That's right. Absolutely. That's right.
Look at you. I love this.
You okay? You
all
right?
I'm great. I'm loving this.
I'm gonna Ancestry 23 your ass because I think you're like 70.
That's facts.
Yeah, he's got a little Benjamin Button going on right now. He's getting.
I guarantee you, I'm older than you think. I'm blessed.
God,
with good skin, but yeah.
Ricky, do me a favor. I need you to ask Mark a follow-up question. Ask him what the best TV series is of all time. Ask him, Ricky.
Okay. Mark, may I ask you what the best TV series of all? Oh, no.
Because we bond over this as well.
No,
ask him, Ricky.
No.
I already know the answer to this. No. I know the answer.
Oh, God, please say Seinfeld. No.
Cheers.
Oh, I'm almost afraid. Like any genre or?
Well, I was thinking particularly the one that we bond over a lot.
Oh, of course. The Golden Girls.
Horse the water.
Yeah.
I was.
That's totally unfair.
But I needed, you know, that's such a broad question because I thought you were going to say, because when people ask me, I immediately say Friday Night Lights.
What a great show.
Great series.
Yeah,
Justice. We can get behind that.
Yeah, definitely.
They're rebooting it too.
I know,
heard.
which is not necessary. But
Oh,
it's a
I
testament to how
love you
good.
saying that. Hell yeah. Don't worry about them Golden Girls.
No, but I love the Golden Girls. By the way, I'm Chad is the Blanche Devereaux to my Dorothy's Bornak, and has been since I've met him. Still,
So was Golden Girls a big hit in Ireland, or you didn't pick them up till you got
No,
here?
no, Justice, it wasn't.
yes, it
What?
was.
Oh, come on.
That was a worldwide. Wait, are you telling me you don't like the Golden Girls? That's the
All
first
I'm
time.
telling you is I'm going to start calling Chad Blanche.
You love that.
Blanche Bearden. Justice, mark that down. Blanche
Blanche
Bearden.
Bearden.
What
Gotta
are we
be.
doing?
Mark,
What is
Mark,
going on here?
Mark is the person that I know that I can send all the Golden Girls memes, whatever it is. Like if I see something, I'm sending it to Mark, and he does the same, vice versa.
And buy him the
And
T-shirt and the backpack that you
I have
have, and
so many T-shirts,
well,
and
I have this on my desk currently that I've been meaning to send to Mark for months that I acquired for him, but is
oh, the
the
Betty Davis
stamps.
or the
is
Betty White
the
stamps.
Betty White American stamps that I went to the post
Oh,
office
Wow.
and got for Mark that I need to send to him.
Collectible.
They've
And
yeah,
I have this at hand,
are
Chad.
those the forever stamps?
they are forever stamps.
That's the Blanche Pop Funko. Do you have that, Chad?
Please hold.
Uh-oh.
Please hold.
He's got a collection. Look at him.
Oh, what's going on now?
I don't know.
Oh my
God. Look.
What is
Jeez.
that?
Look like some bobbleheads or something.
Yeah,
These are Funko Pops.
What?
Funko? What?
the Funkos. Yeah, I've got them all too.
So here's Rose.
What is going on?
I don't.
Here's Sophia,
I don't know. I don't know.
and here's Dorothy.
We have
So,
lost
so
the
this
show.
this is Mark in Golden Girls version. This is Dorothy.
We are losing viewers by the second.
This is Blanche.
You're Blanche. You are now Blanche Bearden.
Blanche, yeah.
So
I
you.
don't know if I've ever shown you this, Chad. Let me show you.
Uh-oh.
Oh gosh.
Oh God.
Show and tell.
Have you seen the
A
like,
lunchbox.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my
I don't
God.
know. That's incredible.
Look at the quality of that thing. Holy
the
smokes.
detail?
Have I show what? That is awesome.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah.
Yeah. Have I shown you my backpack?
Oh
I have,
my
I
God.
have the
No, I don't
Golden
think
Girls.
so.
I have the Golden
Oh.
Girls backpack. I
Let's
have
get
the
back to Friday Night
pajamas.
Lights.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You got Betty White. You have a sheet of Betty White Forever stamps. I have a sheet of the very hard to find Forever muscle car stamps.
Okay.
Those are good too.
All right. So let's talk about some of these shows.
No
that
love
you-
for you, Ricky.
that-
No love.
Let's talk about some of these shows that you worked on, Mark. Tell me some of your favorite shows that you've been a part of and why.
Could I have lost you?
No, you got us.
I can't see
Well,
you.
we can
Hold on.
see him, but he can't see us. He's seeing.
Oh, there we
Oh.
go. All right, go back. I don't know what happened. My favorite, well, Billy the Kid that I got to do for 3 seasons was, like I loved pretty much every day of working on it. Well,
That he
Western,
sent me this hat from.
the season 3 hat, yeah. Yeah, so I always love working on Westerns. Those are my favorite to work on. But Joe Pickett, where I was full-time scout for like the whole summer, was a really terrific job to have as well. A lot of travel in that, and a lot of very different types of locations to look for. A lot of city stuff, houses, and just every day was different. Like it was never 2 days the same on that, so it was quite exciting. And
I
those
felt
are
like
the-
that was such an underrated show too.
I agree,
It was
and
it was so good.
and it's such a shame it got canceled. There's like over, I think there's more than 30 books in that series now. There's so much material there. It could have gone on for many years. Yeah, very disappointing that it got canceled so soon.
Yeah, I wish somebody else would pick that show up because
Yeah.
Mm.
it was a great show and it was well done.
Great cast, yeah.
Yes. So if you guys haven't seen that show, Rick,
So
Chris,
you scouted for this location here for the Joe Pickett. for the
Joe
Joe
Picnic
Pig.
season 2, yes, I was the full-time scout on that for all
Gotcha.
the 10 episodes. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
No, I haven't checked it out either. I just pulled it up just to see what it was, but it looks good though.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Mark tips me off and um gives me the advance warning of, hey, when this comes to the US or it comes on. And the other thing is like s- I didn't realize, but some shows that stream on one network here or one streaming service here is different in Canada. Like it may
Sure.
be on a completely different streaming service. So
Right.
he's always really good about, hey, this is going to be streaming on this American uh
Yeah. Yeah, it's all
TV
about
service.
rights and stuff. It gets very complicated. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean these just some of these shows that you've worked on. Um the first season of The Last of Us I really enjoyed. The second season was a little bit weird for me, but I still think it's such a cool
Yeah. And
And
that
that
was
was a video game at one point, right? The Last
yeah,
of Us.
it's
Yeah.
based on a video game. Yeah. And as it was as tough as a show that was to work on, the scale of that was just incredible to be on something that big where there really was nothing that they wouldn't do. It didn't matter how much work it took or how many streets you had to close, or it was. I've never been on anything quite that scale. So for that experience alone, it was worth it.
Yeah, that's gotta be kind of massive when you say closing streets. That's a lot of moving parts to
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
get that to happen and to put that in play.
And for a show like that, which is it's set 20 years in the future after kind of an apocalypse, so you're not only closing these streets, you're dressing them to look like they've been abandoned for 20 years. And you got to bring in old cars, and you're treating every building. It's a huge undertaking, huge amount of work.
Wow. Not to give
so
a lot of trade secrets away, but are some of those like CGI or is that like real props when they make those scenes look
For the
abandoned, if
most
you
part
will?
on that show, it was all if you're looking way back into the distance, sometimes they'll extend it with composites and so on. But
Right.
on that show, they dressed everything. It was
Wow.
huge.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
so what are you working on now? What do you have coming up, Mark?
Well, the one it's not official. I haven't signed anything yet, so I can't really. I'm not going to jinx it, but I hope to be working on a new Western in the next 4 to 6 weeks. I'm hoping as
Oh,
well.
nice.
Yeah.
Is that a series or a film or
Yeah, series, yes. Yeah.
cool? I like that.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be nice to get back to that. So yeah, and obviously as soon as anything's official, I will let you know. But yeah, I'm not really allowed to talk about it when I'm not officially an employee. So
Right. Fair enough. Wow.
Well, this has been really cool. I've enjoyed getting to learn about the things you actually do. I tell Mark all the time that I want to come up and just like stay at his house for a couple weeks and just follow him around to what he does. And he tells me that I could not handle it because it's way too cold for me, which
well,
I
you
think
could
is
do the
completely
winter.
fair.
So I know you could. So.
Yeah. Um,
Did I hear that? Are you in Calgary?
Yes.
Yeah.
But so this has been super cool. Thanks for doing this. Thanks
Yes,
for
thank you.
letting our viewers in on kind of a really cool job that I don't think a lot of people even realize is a really cool job to have or
Right.
that even maybe exist. You know, it's really easy to think, well, they just go there and they just shoot. But somebody has to go find these locations.
Yeah.
Somebody has to plan this out. Somebody has to work out all these logistics. And like I said, just the whole ecosystem inside whatever, you know, industry that you're in, whether that be film or NASCAR or music or whatever it is. I love exploring all the different facets of that. So I appreciate you doing this. I know that you are a guy who doesn't like to talk about yourself a lot. And when I ask him to do this, he's like, I don't know. I don't like.
And I
Not
realized when I started talking, I felt like I had nothing to say then. So I hope you have enough to make an episode. I'm sorry.
You
no,
have plenty to say.
it was great, and we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And I appreciate it so much. Guys, any other questions you have before we let Mark go?
Listen,
Mark? What's your favorite sport? And please, you're under no obligation to say NASCAR. You're up there in Calgary. What's your favorite sport?
Um, I'm really not a sports guy.
So you don't get pressure being up there to be like, I mean, you're right there in
Flames
the
guy.
hotbed of
Yeah.
hockey.
Like I have a Flames t-shirt because I love my city, but only
Yep.
for that. I really know nothing about the team other than they're not doing very well this year, apparently. So
Yeah. So I used to call on an account up there called Visions. Visions Electronics is based in Calgary. They got like 40 some stores. And they got me to a Flames game. And like that and the rivalry between there and Edmonton is just
yeah,
like, it's next level. Like most people don't really even understand.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that I'm very aware of. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. What's Edmonton from you? Like 2 hours
Uh,
north?
3 hours north.
Yeah. 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 That's cool.
All right. Well, if we got nothing else, we will let Mark go. Mark, thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, thank
It's
you,
been a
sir.
blast. I think people are
Thanks,
going to
Mark.
enjoy hearing it. So, all right, Mark Cogan on Checkers, Wreckers, and What the Heckers.